Hey guys, my name is Andres with Camp Canine Training. Today we're going to train SKYLAR. SKYLAR is a peak lab rescue. He just came in. The foster dropped him off. They're having a lot of issues with getting him kind of just settled down in the house. I'm going to read you the text that the foster sent. I'm going to show you a before, and I'm going to show you how quickly I can make behavior changes. He's just your typical lab that has a lot of energy, right? So the text message says, "Can you please tell the dog trainer that he's a good boy indoors? He tries really hard to learn. He's very submissive and seems a little scared at times inside. He's had no food aggression, and his past owners said he had a problem for them. His biggest problem is behaving outside. I think he's a working dog, as his nose is on the ground the whole time. He lunges and barks after squirrels and birds and cats, and he seems to have special dislikes to small dogs. He has associated strollers with dogs, as he has had a few whistles and barking while walking out and barking at them too." So I get these text messages all the time. Dogs tend to be okay in the house. Outside they're completely different, and they're barking and they're lunging and they're smelling and they're pulling. I've had clients where they're wrapping their leashes on their hands, where they're wrapping the leash on behind their back to try to be able to kind of maintain control. I'm just gonna put a slip lead on the dog right now. I'm gonna take it out. I'm not gonna do any corrections. I'm not gonna do any guidance. I'm not gonna do any teaching. I just want to show you what he's like here in the kennel in an outside environment. And then very quickly I'll start introducing collar placement, leash management skills, corrections, rewards, loading control, smelling, correcting for all the little behaviors, and then you're gonna see how fast we can make changes. So my whole goal for this video is to show how easy it is to communicate with your dog, as long as you have the right tools, the right knowledge, right? The bribing dogs, after the age of 16 weeks, you don't want to bribe dogs anymore. I see that probably in the #1 things, whether it's you're fostering, whether you're adopting, or whether you bought a dog, we tend to bribe our dogs way too much. So I'm gonna go get him, and then we'll show you the before, and then immediately show you the right after. This is gonna be one lesson. It's gonna be pretty much all together. Oh.
Which one is it that's yelling?
This one. No. And there's food and the rest of it. You are all set? Good luck.
So one of the things that I want you guys to notice is how he's walking, and he's kind of ready. So there's not a lot of distractions here today, and we'll try to bring out some dogs and see if we can get him to react. But he's already in let's go mode. Dogs have fight, flight, dominance, and submissiveness. He's already getting ready to fight. I'm gonna keep walking, and just watch how he's kind of walking up, chest out. Hackles are coming halfway up, head is really up, and he's just searching for the next thing, right? His state of mind is not where we want it to be. He's up here. Lunging and reactivity would be here. So I want to take the lunging and reactivity. He's here, and I want to bring him down here, right? That's where I want him to be. Just learn to listen and just to be, right?
Watch his stance. Look at his hair, right? A lot of times people say, oh, he's wagging his tail. That means he's excited. That means he's not going to bite. This is a perfect example of a dog that will bite somebody even though he's wagging his tail. This is a horse that's not doing absolutely anything, and he's losing his mind, right? So obviously I'm not going to introduce corrections now, but I want you to see that before. This is what mom and dad are complaining, right? He's smelling, he's pulling, he's super reactive to things he doesn't like, whether it's big or small. I just want you to learn to be, right? So we're going to go back inside. We're going to introduce a better leash management skills because, like, we want to get rid of this. I want the dog to listen to me, not fight me as I'm doing these things. And then we're going to introduce a pinch collar as well. So we'll go back in. Let me turn it off. All right. And now, actually, before we go, guys, in, I brought all my dogs out. I'm going to show you a little bit of reactivity that he's having towards other dogs. That was with a horse. Now I'm going to show you kind of what mom or the foster was complaining about with other dogs. So I have 3 dogs. They're not reactive, but you're still going to see that he's going to want to react a little bit. Cass. Cass. Sit. Eros. Cass. Come on, Cass. Down. So this is pretty interesting because now he's not reacting, right, like he was with the horse. And a lot of that has to do with 2 things. One, the amount of pressure that dogs are putting in, right? So the horse is pretty big. It's standing over him. It's going to create a lot of pressure. My dogs, 1, aren't that big. 2, they also are not looking at him like they want to pick a fight. They're not lunging and barking and snapping. So if another dog is reacting, then the chances of him reacting are going to be a lot more. Now, instead of him reacting, he wants to go play and say hi. So now you have the opposite of the 2 things. One was very positively loaded, like we saw here. The other one is negatively loaded, like we saw over there. I want you to be okay, whether it's a horse, a squirrel, another dog, a cat, a rabbit, or another person. I want you to be nice and calm, right? So that's the whole thing we want to achieve today. I'm going to introduce a pinch collar on him, and I'm going to start working on him. So you guys are going to get to see pretty much real time how I introduce these tools and what I do to get them to walk. So at the beginning aspects of things, I'm going to introduce a Herman Springer pinch collar, medium size, which is a 3.0 millimeter. And all I want him to do is pretty much what he's doing now. Is just learn to relax. Not smelling, not pulling, not lunging, not barking. Then once the dog understands that, then we can proceed into having him understand leash pressure. So if you look at some of the videos that I've posted or even here 10, 15, 20 seconds ago, every time I put pressure, he would pull back. I want to be able to do this. Loose leash, buckle down, letter J. I want to be able to drop the leash without him bolting away, right? So I'm going to introduce the collar, start introducing a little bit of pressure, and then we'll go from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The most important thing we're getting a pinch is sizing it properly. The number 1 mistake I see with pinch collars is they're not sized properly. They're usually too big, right? These collars, like I've talked in all my other videos, need to be placed super high as possible on the neck, as far back on the ears. The lower the collars are, the more control and power they're going to have. Hence why I am not a fan of harnesses, at least for walking. If you want to have your dog pull things, a harness is great. If you want to have your dog pull things and you put a pinch collar on him, then it's not such a smart idea. So use the right tools for the right purpose, right? Now that I have a pinch collar on him, now I'm going to be able to have a little bit more control. And you're going to also notice a different little bit of more communication with the leash. On the before after that you guys just saw, you saw me pretty much just hold to the end of the lead and let him do whatever he wants. He was hitting the end of the lead. There was a lot of tension. This time you're going to see me hold with both hands, and it's going to be very gentle. It's going to be a lot of guidance. The collar is up high, the buckle is hanging down, and I have the letter J focused on the leash. And again, that's what I want, right? I don't want to see this. I don't want to see him out at the end of the 6-foot lead and me pulling, trying to get him back in, right? Excuse me. As he starts behaving, my job is to reward physically with affection. Notice I don't have a treat bag. I don't have bones. I don't have bacon. I don't have chicken to try to bribe him to do things. I want you to be able to have a nice, calm state of mind, be around other dogs, be around other types of environments, horses, squirrels, other people, without losing it, right? And then once you have that, then I can start giving you rewards. But notice I'm not talking to him, right? You guys can go back through the video, watch the entire video before and even after, and you're going to see that I'm not going to say a single word to him. The less you talk, the better it is, right? All right, so we're going to get started. So again, all I want is to put a little bit of pressure and for him to follow the leash. Understand to follow the leash. Right now, I don't care what side you're on, but one of the biggest issues I was having with him is he would be on the left, and then he would be on the right. Then he would go on the left, then he would go on the right. As we're walking, he's all over the place. And this is something that I see way too often, right? Give a little bit more structure to the dog where you're having him stay on one side. Whether it's the right side or the left side, it doesn't matter. But pick one side and do it. For me, I always pick the left because later on, if I introduce him to an e-collar, the e-collar remote is right-hander user-friendly, right? Now, notice he's locking up. He was following the leash at the beginning, right? And now he's like, I don't want to do this. This is what I call the 6-year-old kid at the grocery store throwing a fit for his piece of gum, right? I just want to have enough pressure to where you're not shutting down on me and you're learning to follow the leash. I'm not asking a lot of him right now. This is day one, lesson one. But what I want you to learn is to learn to follow the leash. Don't lock up. Because look what was happening with the reactivity. The more I pulled, the more he pulled, and the more we went. Learn to follow the leash. And I can put a little bit of more pressure, and he unlocks, and then I release. He comes to me, boom, yes, reward. But again, I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to you guys. I'm not talking, oh my God, you're so good, yes, Baba. Because then that just creates his loading more and more and more and more. All I want is for him just to learn to follow a leash, and then he gets rewards. That's it, right? Another thing I want you guys to notice is how in the area that I'm working him on. I didn't take him on this long walk. You guys can do this in your backyard, front yard, living room. You don't need a lot of space to teach a dog to learn to follow the leash. But once they start understanding to follow the leash, now you have a form of communication. And all I'm doing this is with 2 fingers, right? Before I had to hold the leash and wrap it and hold the handle. Now I can say, hey, just follow the leash this way, follow the leash this way, come this way, follow me over here. And now the dog is learning to listen to the leash instead of hitting the brakes and saying, I don't want to do this. All right. So he's doing good. We give a little bit more reward. We can fix the collar if we need. Again, the higher the collar, the more control and power I have. The lower the collar, the more control and power he has. So I fix the collar, fix a little bit of the leash. And now that he's understanding pressure, now I can teach him how to walk. So now my goal is to take him to do figure eights. And then once he has that, then we do left turns, then we do right turns, and then we take him on a straight walk. And then we're going to pass by the same exact distraction. And then hopefully by the end of this, we'll be doing a quick pack walk with these guys, right? But again, it's all state of mind. Let the leash do the work for you. Do a lot less talking. And you can change behaviors this quickly, right? So here we go. Now we're just going to start walking. And then all I'm looking for is that he stays here on my left-hand side and he doesn't pass my hip line. I want to give him a spot. If he tries to go right, I'm going to give him direction to go to the left. So notice now these aren't really corrections. This is just more of a guidance. This becomes more, my left hand becomes more of a joystick. If you walk dogs on the right, then your right becomes your joystick. Notice he's giving me a couple behaviors. He's trying to bump into me, and he's also trying to shut down, right? I kept walking. I didn't talk to him. I didn't try to baby him. I just kept walking. So the number one rule when we're walking a dog is we never stop. Way too many times do I see people, they come to a stop, the dog's like, sit, pay attention. You're blocking the dog, you're putting a lot of pressure. Relax your hand, keep walking, use this as a guidance to be able to get him back into position. But if you stop, it makes it a lot harder, right? 99% of the times, when you stop, things don't get better. Things actually end up getting worse. So keep walking. If he wants to shut down, dude, I don't know what you're doing back there, but we got to go. We got to keep walking. We got to get back home, We got to get to the park. We got to get to the beach. So always, always, always walk, right? And then when you come to a stop, same thing. Then they come to a stop. I'm not bribing him to sit or to stop. Like, I just want him to learn to be next to me. And if he's next to me, then he gets rewarded. For every correction that you guys are given, there needs to be a reward. And for every good behavior that he gives you, there also needs to be a reward. But also, I'm not here saying yes, 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 because I'm over rewarding for that behavior. I'm just asking him to be. Now, if I ask him to do a sit stay outside of PetSmart for 10 minutes, then absolutely give him a higher reward. But for just being here and not smelling and not pulling and not lunging, then he's just going to get a $20 paycheck. Good job. That's all he needs, right? I'm not letting him lean. I'm not letting him smell. And I have loose leash buckle down letter J, right? So we're going to try that a little bit more. He's doing really good with left turns. Now we're going to try a little bit more of the left turns, and then we'll start doing right turns. And again, all I want him to do is to be on my left-hand side, loose leash, buckle down letter J, learn to be on my hip. You start getting a little bit too forward, I'm going to help you just get back a little bit. And it's just quick little pops. They're not pulls, and I'm not holding the leash back, right? This is why pinch collars get a bad name, right? People get the wrong size. People put the pinch incorrectly, and then they also don't have very good leash management skills. All they're doing is they're just pulling the dog, right? The other thing that I'm doing is notice I'm increasing a little bit of more pressure. I'm getting closer and closer to chaos. So he's doing better now, but he still wants to go see chaos. So I want you to be okay around other dogs. So we're going to start introducing him by going around chaos. But no nose-to-nose contact, no nose-to-butt contact. Just learn to be around other dogs and follow the heel. Notice all the guidance I'm giving on the leash. It's a lot of guidance, right? And there's going to be a point here very quickly where we're going to be able to do this turn, and he's just going to stay on the side. But right now, he's fighting me a lot. I want to go see. I want to go smell. I don't like what we're doing. All I'm asking him to do is just to follow the leash. That's all I'm asking. No smelling, no pulling. Sometimes dogs will get very vocal. Again, that's the 6-year-old kid at the grocery store. I want a piece of gum! I don't want to do this! I'm not asking him much. All I'm asking him to do is walk next to me. But I haven't stopped. So just keep walking. Don't pay attention to him. Don't mind him. Do your own thing. This is your walk. It's a structured walk. Walks are always structured. If you let the dog smell while they're on a leash, you're letting them blow you off. I want to get to a point just like this where I'm able to walk next to a dog with absolutely no issues. So now he's able to walk even closer than he's ever been before, and I'm barely holding on to the leash. And now you have a dog that's focusing and looking up at me. So my job is to reward, right? The biggest thing there is I kept walking. I didn't stop. I corrected him when he gave me nonsense. I rewarded when he gave me a good behavior. There's a balance, guys. For every correction, there needs to be a reward. For every good behavior, there also needs to be a reward. I've said this again, and I'll say it now, or I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I haven't said a single word to him. The less you talk, the better these training sessions are going to be, right? Now that he's doing really good with chaos, we're going to introduce him to Eros, right? Eros is the male on the left. He doesn't like other dogs. I'm also going to introduce him to Athena, right? Athena's in the background. She has been through a 2-week program. She was super reactive, right? And she reacts sometimes when other dogs react. So notice I'm going to start doing figure eights and stuff around him, all right? And again, all I'm asking him to do is follow the leash. I'm going to keep walking, reward when he's doing good, correct when he's not, reward as soon as he gives me the right behavior. It's all a balance, guys.
Generalizing the behavior. So with chaos, it took me a long time. I think it took me like probably 5 or 6 turns. With him, it took me about 3. With Athena, it only took me 1. Right? And then if we bring another dog, it's probably not going to take anything because we've built that behavior already. So we'll try it again. And this time you have a dog that completely followed me, is paying attention to me, is looking up at me, is staying on my left-hand side, and didn't want anything to do with Athena, which is great. At the beginning aspects of things, just learn to be around other dogs. I don't want to kill the dog spirit, right? I don't want to kill that happy-go-lucky dog, but I just need you to pay attention, and I'll let you know when you can go have fun with other dogs if
you like other dogs, right? All right, now that the dog understands proper leash management, we have load and control, the dog understands how to avoid corrections, how to get rewards. Now we're gonna teach him a climb. So when I teach a dog a climb, elevated surface, no jumping, no barking, and no getting off, right? And this will solve 80 to 90% of the in-home behaviors. So a lot of jumping in the house is what mom was saying. A lot of nonsense in the house. If I teach a dog just to be on a climb, then they can't get to the counter, they can't counter surf, they can't jump on people, they can't rush the door when the doorbell rings. They could just be on the climb, and then people can go give affection. And then once they're done with the exercise, then you can release them and they can go say hi to people, and they can go sit by the couch, or they can sit on the couch if you allow that, right? But it's super, super important. Now that the dog understands leash management and pressure, notice how I use my body and my leash to be able to get them on and off of the climb, right? It's a lot of leash guidance and a lot of leash pressure. At the beginning aspects of things, I just want them to get on and then off, on and then off, on and then off, on and then off. Then, once they're getting on with a lot of confidence, then I'm gonna introduce the word climb. I'll do that a couple times, and then I'll introduce corrections. There's a lot of people that can introduce a sit, a climb, a heel, a down, but they can't introduce a very solid stay. And the reason for it is because the dog doesn't have a high enough consequence to stay. They don't have a high enough consequence to leave. So the consequence for leaving is a correction. The consequence for staying is affection, is a reward. But as I teach him this, you guys are gonna see how I start progressing everything. I'm gonna put the climb in between my guys so we can already start working on around distractions, right? So this is a little bit more advanced. You guys can still do this at home without the dogs, but always start in a semi-low distraction environment. Because he's already doing so well, I'm gonna ask a little bit more of him. Here we go. When I'm introducing a climb, I want the long way first. A lot of leash guidance and body positioning. When I walk in here, I'm gonna put my left foot, my right foot, and then I'm gonna guide. If he decides to lock up, I'm just gonna put leash pressure. The reason why I put left foot and right foot is because I need to be able to guide. And a lot of dogs will fear everything else, right? So, we're gonna try this again. Left foot, right foot, and guide with the leash. Right? The first time we did this, 6-year-old kid at the grocery store. Oh my God, I don't want to do it! The second time, okay, that was simple. I gotta do this. So it's extremely important that when you guys are working with dogs, if you have a very vocal dog, you really cannot pay attention to that, because that's where a lot of people are gonna stop. And this dog being vocal has been returned by an adopter once and has been returned by a foster once. So that's already 2 times that the dog has been returned. If he keeps getting returned 3, 4, 5, 6 times, he'll get sent back to the SPCA or he'll get put down because nobody can work with him. And all he needs is just a little bit of guidance and a little bit of structure, right? Like, nobody's killing him, nobody's asking him to search for drugs, nobody's asking him to run a marathon. All we're asking him to do is follow a leash. Because if I can teach a dog and the dog can learn to follow a leash, I can show him the world. But if you're gonna throw a 6-year-old fit every single time I'm gonna do something, then I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I'm hurting him, I'm hurting him. I don't wanna do this. And then the dog learns that being vocal works. But look what happened. I was like, yeah, it doesn't matter, dude. I'm just gonna ask you to get on the climb because I know it doesn't hurt. You're just being a big baby. And then the second time, he didn't even say a word. And now he's gonna sit and he's staying without me even saying a single word. So again, it's just showing a little bit of guidance and a little bit of leadership to be able to get him on and off things and to be able to not to pay attention to the 6-year-old kid at the grocery store. All right, we're gonna try this a couple more times. Yep. Third time, getting on by itself, right? He wants to fight the leash, put a little bit more pressure. Perfect. And again, notice how I'm just wanting him to get on and off of this climb, right? I'm not asking for anything else. Just get on, just get off. Just get on, just get off. That's all I want. We're not asking anything else, right? Once he starts getting really good at this on and off,
Then what we'll do is we'll be able to introduce the word, actual word climb. One of the things that I see too often is people introduce the word too soon. Whether it's a sit, whether it's a climb, whatever it is, they introduce it too soon. Create a positive experience. What do you think would have happened the first time I came up to the climb and he's screaming and he's like, I don't want to do this! And I said climb. The next time I say climb, then he's gonna be like, I know what's coming, I'm gonna hit the brakes. And he's gonna shut down, right? So get a really, really, really good climb, sit, down, whatever you're working on. And then once you love the behavior, then put a name and attach a name to it. But don't do it too soon, right? So now that he's getting on and off without giving me a temper tantrum, now I can start naming it. And notice how much he's learning to follow the leash. Well, 10 minutes ago, he was barking nonsense at a horse and he was barking at one of my dogs, right? Again, just learn to follow. That's all I want you to do. So climb, guide him on. Notice how I'm using my body, right? If I come up to the climb and I stop without giving him guidance, now he's looking at me like, my man, what's up? What do you want me to do? So it's my fault. I need to give more leash and more guidance. Pointing, climb, 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 doesn't do anything. And the more I yell, it doesn't fix anything. So that's why I keep telling you guys, the less talking you do, the better it is. Let the leash, let your body do the work. Climb. It's a huge difference than just me pointing and getting frustrated. Let the leash do the work, guys, okay? So again, we're gonna come back in, climb, awesome, good job, bud. And now what we're gonna work on, that he's doing so good getting on and off, now we're gonna work on a built-in stay. So, you're gonna notice that I don't use the word stay. Every command is infinite. And he's gonna start getting corrections for getting off. So the game that we're playing here is simple. The floor is lava. Straightforward. Every time he gets off, no, correction, recommand, which is climb, and then yes and reward once he does it, right? So, notice how quick we're able to teach him to climb, but also notice how quickly we're gonna be able to teach a good solid stay with distractions, right? Here we go. So now left foot, right foot, climb. We say yes and reward, and we're gonna work on 4 things when we're working on the climb. Distance, duration, distraction, and proofing. When we work on distance, it's just me standing out at the end of the 6-foot lead. So watch for his behavior. Notice how quickly I am with the corrections, but notice also how patient I am. I'm not gonna give a correction until he physically touches the ground, right? Not before. Way too many people correct prior. The dog will get to the edge, and they're like, no, 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 and they'll correct. But now you're correcting for the dog staying on, and you're also correcting for the dog getting off. So be mindful. Wait until the dog gets off. But as soon as that paw touches the ground, no correction, guide with the leash, tell him to climb, step 3, then yes and reward, right? So here we go. This is distance. I can say yes and reward. Notice how I'm always having 2 hands on the leash at all times. So this is about 4 feet, 5 feet. Also notice how much more eye contact I have, right? It's default. I'm not bribing the dog into looking at me with a bunch of treats, right? Now I'm at 6 feet, which is distance. That's what I want to achieve. Now we're already working on the second one, which is duration, right? 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. We can go all the way to 15, right? He's doing really good. Yes and reward. Distance, duration. Now we're gonna start doing distraction. The distraction is usually when dogs start getting off, especially when you go behind them, because they're sitting, they see you turning. Hey, where are you going? And then they want to go with you. So watch for him to make the decision when I start walking to come off with me, or when I go behind where he turns around and dashes. Again, notice how patient I am, but notice how quickly I am with the correction. Here we go, distance, duration. Here comes the distraction. Keep watching him. That's the decision already. So he's already made the decision, but I didn't correct until he got off the ground. Now I can't verbally give him these cues. We'll get it back on the climb here. Because I'm talking to you guys. But ideally you would say no, you'd get him back on the climb, you'd say yes, and then you would say reward. Right, so let's try that again. Distance, duration, keep watching him. Perfect, right there, he didn't move. He decided to keep holding the sit, so then I say yes and reward. Notice I told him to climb, but I never told him to stay. A climb is infinite. Get rid of the word stay, get rid of the word wait. People say climb, wait. Sit, wait. Down, wait. Heel, wait. And now wait just became all these sight pictures. Like what is sight, what is wait? What does stay really mean, right? So make every command infinite, right? And now we're gonna do a little bit more, right? So distance duration, we'll do a little bit more distraction here. Now we're gonna crank it up and we're gonna go the other way. Notice I have 2 hands on the leash at all times. Beautiful, yes and reward. So that's distance, duration, and distraction. Now I'm gonna start doing a little bit of proofing. So remember, he's super reactive. So I'm gonna start walking around with chaos and arrows, and I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and help him out first by having the dogs walk on my left-hand side, and I'm doing right turns, which means the dogs are on the outside, right? So I'm keeping the nose to nose away from each other. Then once he starts doing really good with that, then I'm gonna start doing left turns, which is gonna bring the dogs in the inside, and it's gonna be a lot harder for him to hold that in place. I'm gonna start with one dog, right turns, then left turns, and then I'm gonna start with the second dog, and then we'll start going from there. Yes, go. Right there. So he decides to get off, go correction, got him back on the climb, and then yes and reward, right? Go. So again, the little 6-year-old fit, right? I'm just having him stay there with the leash. Go. Yes. Yes. So that was about 3 or 4 corrections, and it was a little bit more distraction because we had 2 people walking by to get their cars, and we had chaos. And he gets really excited, and then you tell him no, and then again he's throwing this huge old 6-year-old kid at the grocery store. He gets rewarded, he comes back in, and now we're gonna up the ante. So now I want him to stay, even when chaos is on the inside. Yeah, beautiful. So now he gets rewarded. I want you to look at his state of mind. Look at his face. Look how much he's having to work. Because now I'm having him think. And that's what I want, right? He throws these huge fits because he can't get it his way. Then I tell him, hey dude, that's not the way it works, because that's gonna get you not adopted or put down, right? He starts learning behaviors, and now I can give a bunch of affection, right? But notice how much he's thinking. So mentally stimulating your dog is key. A lot of people have lots of land, have a big backyard, take their dog to daycare, and then the dog's energy is being drained. He comes home, he takes a 15-minute nap, and then he's wired again. But if you ask your dog to work mentally, it's a whole different ballgame, right? So ask your dog to do mental stuff, which is a lot easier than having him run around in the backyard for hours on end, and then he's not really being worked. Physical work is good, but it's not as important as mental work. Yes. So now we're gonna up everything else. So we've done distance, duration, distraction. We're proofing with chaos. Now we're gonna do 2 dogs. So I want you to hold the climb. Watch, right there. Perfect. Yes. He got the same correction without the fit. So now he understands that the fit isn't gonna work. If he throws the fit and he sees that that works, then he's gonna do it again, right? Yep. Yes. Right there. Did you guys see that little movement? He didn't go forward, so it's my job to reward. So now he's doing really good. We're gonna up the ante. Now the dogs are gonna be on the inside. Beautiful. Yes and reward. Now you have a dog that came in an hour ago. He got returned by an adopter and by a foster because he was quote unquote too much, right? And we have a dog that is vocal because it's worked before. And as soon as we start introducing new rules, boundaries, regulations, he's a completely different dog. Now we're gonna go on a pack walk. And I'm going to show you the difference of it, and we're going to walk by the horse that he reacted. You're going to see how much different he is. there's gonna be quite a few of you that are gonna look at him and be like, oh my God, he's shutting down. Look at his ears. What? Oh my, he's shutting down. He's scared. He has no confidence because he doesn't know what to do. He's never been asked to do anything, right? So then you have a dog that's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. The more we do this, the more confidence we're gonna get, the more comfortable he's gonna get. And even here, just in the little bit that we've worked him, he's learned just to lay down and relax, right? I can drop the leash with no problem, which before, if I dropped the leash, he would have gone after that horse. So my whole goal is to be able to have a dog learn to be. And the climb solves that issue, along with teaching your dog how to understand a leash, how to just be calm. Start zooming in on him for me. If you guys look at him, we'll leave the camera on him for just a little bit. You're gonna see how tired he is. His eyes are starting to close, right? He's tired, and we haven't worked him that much, right? I'm gonna try to edit this video as little as possible to show you that it's been pretty much one entire full piece, right? He's breathing heavily, his eyes are starting to kind of close, and he's just like, I'm tired, I'm done with this. So this is a dog that has been worked maybe a total of 25 minutes, and he's completely different, right? But I've shown him a lot of new things. I've introduced him to understanding a leash, and that throwing a temper tantrum isn't gonna work for you. Like, just listen to me so that you can behave and I can show you the world, right? And now that he's even more tired and he understands everything, I'm gonna even make it a little bit harder for him. Cass. Down. Eros. TT, no, down. So now you have a dog that is able to be around other dogs without leash, and he's learning just to cope. Not barking, not lunging, not trying to go play with them, not trying to be dominant, not trying to be submissive, right? So teaching new skills doesn't take a lot of time. And that's my whole goal with this video, is showing you that it doesn't take time. I guarantee that this video is gonna be less than an hour, so you guys can make changes at home. Whether you're a foster, whether you're a client, whether you're a dog owner, like, it doesn't take a lot of time. We've worked this dog less than an hour, right? And he's gotten returned twice because he's too much to handle, right? Does this look like a dog that's too much to handle? No, it just looks like a dog that needed structure and that somebody needed to say, hey, stop the nonsense because your 6-year-old kid at the grocery store isn't gonna work. That's it. Right? And now this is the dog that I would introduce to other dogs, that I could peacefully take on a walk, that I could have my guests and family members come into the house without them being worried about he's jumping and he's too much and he's everything else, right? So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm gonna finish it off by doing a quick pack walk with everybody, and then if you guys have any questions, let me know, shoot me a message or give a comment below. Thanks.